I'm with Elias Nawawieh, who's originally from Bethlehem, and you've just published a new book, Beyond the Pyramids. Elias, what is this book about?
Hey, good morning. My book, Beyond the Pyramids, actually is the last when I told myself I want to write a book, I'm like, I'm not doing that because the amount of work that it took to start writing. But then after all my travel to Egypt and leading people to Egypt, people have asked me all the questions about stories, tips, where to go, what to do. And so anyway, I decided to write Beyond the Pyramids because 90% of people think Egypt is just pyramids and sand and Cairo. That's it.
Mm.
And one of my favorite part of Egypt actually is we call it the Upper Egypt, which is the southern part of Egypt of Luxor and Aswan and the Nile part of Egypt.
So, is this a book built on experience, what you've experienced and what people have asked you and everything?
Yeah, it was built off an experience been traveling to Egypt basically since I was a kid.
Wow. So, do you know how many
And
times you've been to Egypt?
no, I started going to Egypt when I was 12 years old with my parents. As grown up in Bethlehem
Yeah.
to Egypt, as you know, the connection and geographic, since you live there. Yeah, this is the place where we go for like vacation, or if you want to do a business trip and stuff like that, Egypt is the place. So I've been going there since I was 11, 12 years old.
I imagine in those days it was probably easier to get to Egypt, was it, than in the days that you're living in today?
I remember getting in the bus, actually driving Bethlehem, Jerusalem, and then we take the highway to Taba and getting there. Today, from there, actually, it's easier to go from the US to Egypt than going from from Bethlehem to
Wow.
Egypt.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, when I travel, I live in the US right now, and just literally sometime one or two flights, and I'm there. In Bethlehem, you have, to go to Jordan and cross the border, take a full day and then stay in Jordan one night and then take another flight to Cairo to get there. So anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
it was way easier back then.
What sort of things has Egypt got to offer outside of the pyramids?
Absolutely. So as I said, most people think, Paul, like Egypt just literally pyramids and sand, and we tell them the beauty of Egypt on the Nile. So most of my book actually, so I wrote about the pyramids, of course, and it's just one chapter. But the rest of the book is the southern part of Egypt, is the Nile, is the villages that you get to visit through your journey from Luxor to Aswan. Is one of my favorite journey you take in Egypt. You take a Nile cruise for 4 nights, start in Luxor and end in Aswan, and stop every day to visit villages, to visit sites, and in Aswan also is one of my favorite village in city in Egypt.
I imagine Egypt has so much history there that it's like stepping back in time.
Yeah. So when actually I wrote in the book in the first thing, this is not a complete full history book because we'll get a full library just about Egypt. This is not a full history. This is not a debate how the pyramids were built. There's some history in it, of course. I wrote it as a storytelling for people who first time reading about these places. There's some history books right there for people who really want to dig more into history. But this one more about like a storytelling about these places and my experience at these places.
How long did it take you to write?
A year. It
Well,
took me a year and a couple months because I was writing in Arabic
oh well.
and then translated in English. And then
And
I
did you
have an
translate it
editor, of
yourself as
course.
well as?
No, the English, I have an editor worked on it, but I wrote it originally in Arabic. So,
Well, does the
yeah,
book look at the spiritual aspect of Egypt as well?
absolutely. For example, one of the places the Holy Family stayed in Egypt is in Cairo. There's many places they stayed in Egypt, and one of them is in Cairo. It's in one of the oldest part of Cairo. It's called the Hanging Church and the Church of St. George, right next to each other. This is the cave where we believe the Holy Family stayed when they fled from Bethlehem.
Well,
So we focus on that, on the pilgrimage aspect as well, because I don't want to write it just like a totally guidebook and a totally history book. I added spiritual part about being how being a pilgrimage when you travel to that part of the world.
Yeah, it's very important. And there's so much about Egypt in the Bible as well, isn't there?
Absolutely. There is beautiful, beautiful monasteries till today, active monasteries. You know how in Bethlehem we have this place where, Jesus was born. We have this where the shepherd is the same thing in Egypt. They have so many places. But the main thing is the one in Cairo and the one in St. Catherine Monastery down in Sinai. Beautiful monastery. They have one of the oldest books also of the Bible there. They have a library. I think is the second value or something after the Vatican. It's in
Wow.
St. Catherine Monastery. It's not open to public yet, but I did see it. And then, of course, you have Mount Sinai. There's an opportunity there. When you go, you stay at St. Catherine Monastery. Now they have a guest house there. You stay the night, and in early morning, before around 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., you start hike the mountain for the sunrise. And while you're hiking up there, you see people from all over the world hiking. And when you get to the top, you hear all the languages, people singing and worshiping up there. So this is one of my favorite experience at St. Catherine Monastery. You see the view that what Moses saw. Nothing changed there yet.
Wow.
So you see literally the same view, what Moses saw.
Wow. I was going to ask you, what is your favorite place, most favorite place to visit in Egypt?
Two places. One is Luxor, and the other one is St. Catherine Monastery, Sinai. I love these places. I love the people there. Luxor is completely different than Cairo. Cairo is really fun to be in for a few days with all the chaos and the traffic and the street and the people. It's fun to have this experience.
I've tried
But
to
you go
cross the road
down
in Cairo and it's not
on
easy.
it's the same thing if you close your eyes and just don't look.
Yeah.
It's or you look at them. But then you go to Luxor and it's just so calm, so beautiful, so relaxing, and you enjoy the beauty of the Nile. And also it's completely different from Cairo. Like in Cairo, you had the pyramids were built as tombs. And then you go to Luxor, to the Valley of the Kings, where you go down, way down, meters of downs to see the tombs.
Wow.
Because, they were building the pyramids, then people saw them, or they got robbed, didn't work. So they moved to Luxor and they were digging underground for tombs.
Now, are you going to write any more books?
Yes, to be honest with you, I was hoping my first book to be about the Holy Land.
Yeah. I was
And
thinking,
and
because you're
and
from Bethlehem, you have to do
yes,
something about
absolutely.
Bethlehem.
And to be honest with you, I started a little bit, but since the war started, I stopped. It was very, very heavy in my heart what's going on over there. And I didn't have the, how to say it in English, I didn't have
The
the
passion for the,
something there, just like
yeah,
something there inside me is like, it's not right. It's not the right time. What you gonna write about when it's like a war over there, you
yeah.
know? So my next book will be about the Holy Land.
Wow. Now, you are
Yeah.
from Bethlehem. What was it like growing up in Bethlehem for you?
Yeah, I grew up in Bethlehem, born and raised, just literally 5 minutes down from where Jesus was born.
Wow.
And when I go today and I see the kids at the Church of the Nativity outside in the street, I'm like, I was one of these when I was a kid, like
Yeah.
trying to talk to the tourists and practice my English with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, growing up in Bethlehem, I love the community, how we all growing up as one close community together. This is one of my favorite part about growing up there.
Do you still have family here in Bethlehem?
Yes, all my family is there. I was just there in January visiting them since the war started, actually. So I went back to visit my family. They're doing okay. But now I live in the US. Before the war, I used to go there like 5 to 7 times a year with pilgrimage, visiting the Holy Land.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you take tours to Bethlehem? So, of course, you are taking tours into Bethlehem because there's so much to see, isn't there?
Yeah, that's how I started. Actually, I started my tours in the Holy Land and Egypt and Jordan. And the reason I started that, Paul, because when I grew up there, seeing all the tourists come from the West and just visiting only the sites, getting in the bus, getting off the bus, basically running where Jesus walked. And the only locals they get to meet is the driver and the tour guide
Mm.
and the shop owner where they're going to shop. So I started something and we called it Not Your Grandmother Holy Land Tour. We're not just visiting sites. We need to visit locals, meet with locals, and see what's going on there right now. I mean, it's sad to go that far and not understanding what's going on right now in the country. Do you know what I mean? Like what's happening. And the best way to learn about that is meeting people from both sides, not just in Bethlehem. You meet people in the Israel side as well. Like some of my tours, we meet with Christian leader in Bethlehem, we meet with a Muslim leader, and we meet with a rabbi. Not three of them at the same time in one room,
Mm,
just in a different time, and just understand everybody's perspective, understand then about the land and their connection to the land.
mm. Do the Christian community need encouragement at this time with everything that's gone on, and many people have lost their jobs because of the war?
For sure, seeing and when I was there in January, and I was with a smaller group there, and when we were touring and visiting restaurants and shops and families, you can see how honestly their face light up.
Mm,
They're like, this is one of the best days we have since the war started. And not just for business, it's just the hope that you give them hope that there's people in the West still care about them, still coming to see them and spend time with them. I'm like, I'm here if you need anything. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Not just from the business perspective, just to see people from a different country coming to visit you and talk with you, that just give them a really high up hope.
What is your prayer for the book Beyond the Pyramids?
It's for people not just to see Egypt at only historical sites, but to see Egypt through its people, through the places, the spiritual and holy places. I call them holy places where Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus were in Egypt. It's to see from their journey from Bethlehem to Egypt, which is a really, really important journey. As you know, from Bethlehem, every time I go to Star Street and entering before the Church of the Nativity, there's the gate where we believe this is the entrance where they enter Bethlehem after they came from Egypt.
Yeah.
So every time is there, I build my connection to how Egypt and the Holy Land are so connecting together. So yeah, I want people to hope praying to see these places not just sites, but the connection between the Holy Land and Egypt, and a place of from the spiritual part of it, their journey.
And where can people get a hold of this book?
Now it's on Amazon, but soon it will be in other stores as well. And it will be also in Bethlehem. It will be in a library in Bethlehem, but now it's in Amazon Beyond the Pyramids.
Great.
And
Elias,
it's number one in Amazon right now.
great, fantastic. Well, Elias, thank you very much for sharing today.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you for all the work you do over there.